face crack, runway game is on. Drag race is the truth. Bruno sue me for this parody. You read it, the cringe is, you read it well, the cringe is real.
Hello, we are back. I am Sam from The Cringe is Real.
And I am Jean from You Read It Well. Yay, another episode.
Yes, we did it. We did it. It's week 3. Another fun one. Really loving this season. How are you feeling about it?
I think it's a very strong season in terms of the production and in terms of storytelling. They are just really kind of shaping something for me that makes sense, and that's what the goal is with the story. It's like you've got to convince the audience, who are the toughest critics, like whether this flies, and I think they're doing a good job at that.
Absolutely. And they're being a little bit nicer than last season, where it was like out the gates, people were like, firing at big targets straight away. And we had, the iconic Pangina and Jimbo moment and like craziness. But this one's a little bit more like, I think they're playing fair for now anyway.
There seems to be a focus on talent, and I think it is a talented bunch. So, and they're being measured in the way that they are just like displaying themselves, I guess, like for a lot of, I think they are aware of how they can be constructed. Some of them are such veterans at this shit, we definitely saw in this episode, like Scarlett's personality really come out in the confessionals, which I'm really liking, because I'm like, oh, she's camp as fuck. Like, I don't think I quite, like, it's in her drag, but I didn't think I quite got that in her personality until this week.
Yeah, she finally kind of arrived this week, and they really champion her personality, which was good to see. Because, you're right. I kind of forgot that she's actually quite fun. So that was good to see. But for me, it's just all about Le Grand Dame. She's stealing the whole show. Her and Tia Coffee are just like winning the game for me at this point.
They seem to be confident. They have a confidence in what they think is good, and that's just, it's so nice to see. Certainly from Tia Coffee as well, because she's had this huge glow up, and she's really self-deprecating and all that sort of stuff. But like, she knows how to be funny and how to craft a thing. And Le Grand Dame is just a creative, I don't know, genius, I guess. Like, she's just one of those people.
She's just hot. And it's it's fantastic to watch. Plus, it's good to see Tia. You're right, like she's self-deprecating and that's her shtick. But like, I also like that now she's allowing herself to be like, yeah, I'm good. Like I look good. Like that's a really nice thing to see.
Yeah. It is. The confidence is real, and and that really helps. Like a measured amount of confidence in this competition is good.
Ru needs that for you to get through. I think you need to believe what you're selling for Ru to get on board.
Otherwise, you're really not quite there yet. You're not ready. If that's not happening, I think.
How did we feel about branding before we get into the episode? Like, how much does RuPaul love this idea that like the drag queens have to brand? And I guess what it really means is just like, what's your thing and how many times can you like ram it down everyone's throats?
Yeah, I mean, they have championed branding in this show for many a season, and it's certainly how like Ru has like constructed her life, is through this ability to brand herself. So it's like, it's definitely, if you want this kind of career, I guess it is important, but sometimes the challenge doesn't necessarily say, oh, it's branding. They're like, oh, it's immersive experience. I'm like, okay, what? And they're like, we're not going to explain what that is.
Immersive experience was a stretch. I think they should have just left it at brand and comedy. Like that would have been enough.
Advertisement.
Yeah. Immersive experience, I didn't quite buy. But
I
yeah.
was like, that's almost like they're trying to confuse them. Like we're gonna try and confuse you by calling it an immersive experience. But yeah, it's just like, oh, it's just Drag Race World. I'm like, Drag Race World, fine, I get that. Everyone gets
Yeah.
that. But that it's a wonky challenge is all that Drag Race is about. We love our wonky challenges where you're just like, what's the essay question? I don't even
Mhm.
know.
Let's get into the episode. We start with
Sure.
the mirror cleaning. La Grande Dame says it's bittersweet that she won, but also, she had to send home her sister Arancha, and Teresa is devastated because, they're very close.
Teresa.
And the lip sync song that they did last week was their song. I was like, that's really you know.
That is really sweet. Although in confessional, Tia was like, "I'm not sure about Teresa,
Mhm.
how whether she's playing this up because she's feeling like, well, I've just kind of fallen to the bottom this week, and I need to sort of like show this sort of well-rounded kind of caring character as a counterpoint."
Mhm.
How do you think Teresa's going?
Look, I said this last week, and I'll say it again this week. I expect more from her because I really, really liked her on her
Yeah.
season, but I'm not like connecting with her too much this time round.
Mhm.
Maybe it's just because she's on like heavyweights in terms of like there's
Yeah.
funnier people there, like Hannah and Tia are kind of like the funny ones. So she, in
Mm.
comparison, is kind of like still funny, but I don't know. Is that what's happening? I don't know why I'm not getting into it as much.
It's like if I don't know because you don't know what the edit is constructing for you really, but like it's like she lost her footing at the beginning or something, or sort of came into the competition not quite. I don't know. It just wasn't quite firing on all cylinders or something. Like a
Mm-hmm.
lethargy is coming off her a little bit, and she's so like well liked and adorable. Like it's weird to say that because you're like it's Theresa May, like of course, like she's gonna be great, And I think you're right. That expectation has been set up, but there's something that's just not quite connecting at the moment
And speaking
with
of
her.
branding, like I don't understand what Teresa's brand is, and she keeps pushing this like hell or like inferno thing, and like I don't actually get what that is because she's quite funny and camp. Like
Yeah,
she's not like a spooky dookie queen. So
no.
yeah, I don't know.
It's like she just went, I look good
Yeah,
in red," and then just, like, kind of went with it or something. Like, it doesn't quite make sense. No,
we'll see
but
what
we'll
happens.
see. There's always if you can hang in there, it
Yeah.
might
Now, last
work
week
out.
you were curious about who Kata's lipstick was for, and we find out that she would
Mhm.
have sent Teresa home. But she explains it. I think she kind of gets away with it because she does say that Arancha helped her make her outfit. So as if, you're not going to
Mm.
send home someone that's like helped you win. So I don't know.
I mean, I might have sent her home. I might have sent Teresa home.
I
Like,
thought
I
she was
was
going to go home.
actually
I was
like, I
surprised that she stayed, to be
yeah,
honest. Mm.
yeah, so I don't there was there's always a 50-50 chance that they might just pick your I totally get it, so yeah. Good on Kenna for like being brave in
Well,
that
there's some
moment
funny editing
as
because Teresa's like, "Oh,
well.
that's totally fine," and then they cut to her in confessional, being like, "I'm pissed. I'm going to take her out the next chance I get." I was like, "Oh, so she might actually have a target on her back now for doing that. Who knows?" But
Well, it would seem later on in the Untouched Lounge that they were all expecting Keena to go,
yeah,
and it was like, oh, and Teresa did bring up that whole like she picked
yeah,
me,
yeah, yeah,
like she
yeah.
was so shocked, and I'm like, girl, like you didn't do well that week. There was a chance.
Scarlett says she's not here to play nice, and she's got La Grande Dame in her sides, which I'm threatened much, but also good tactic. I'd probably want to take her out as well because she's kind of amazing. And Marina also says
Yeah.
she's concerned that she might be a threat because she's been in the top a lot. So she's like, I better watch my back because these girls are coming for the big threats. But we've yet to see that sort of play out, haven't we?
Yeah, I mean, that's because these top queens are
True.
not landing in the bottom. They are just simply not being put there. Their heads are not on the chopping block. And I would like, Marina not getting to the bottom for the whole competition.
It could happen.
It totally
Yeah.
makes sense to me that could happen.
Sail to the end.
Which she's like, I'm not being Pangina. No, 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 no,
In the
no.
workroom, they walk in. La Grande Dame's wearing these like amazing ruffle flared pants. I was like, wow, those
Oh
pants.
yeah, they
Even
were
just the
gorge.
lounging around in the workroom looks are on point. Rue comes in and alludes to the branding challenge or the immersive experience to showcase your brand.
Do you think do you think the Pussy Bow is like now one of Rue's brands? Like
Yeah, I think so.
she loves that Pussy
Loves
Bow.
that pussy bow. I think so. And they're working in teams of 3, which is interesting. And they allow the tops and bottom from last week to do the schoolyard pick. So Kater, La Grande Dame, and Teresa make their choices. La Grande Dame picks Hannah and Jombers. Kater picks Tia, who's not thrilled about it, and Marina. And Teresa chooses Scarlett, and Paul Gothy is picked last, which, I mean, this still feels kind of mean to me when they do this, but, it's good. It's good tally, but Gothy didn't seem like she took it very well.
Gothy has nothing to lose. I'm loving this era for Gothy because she's like, this is as far as I've ever got in this competition. And it's giving her this sort of loosey-goosey kind of attitude through this competition, which is actually very beneficial for you so you don't get in your head. So it seems like she's just like, great, like, let's go. And she was like, she said in confessional, I was like, all right, Miss Maturity. Like, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, she handled it very well. And, when you're out from your season, I guess it's like, you're just happy to be there past the first episode. So
that's right.
It's cute. They do a bit of a writing sesh, brainstorm in their groups. Teresa is concerned that, Gothy might not have comedy as her forte, and she hasn't done one of these challenges before. And Teresa's also triggered from in her season where nobody won the green screen challenge, which I forgot about that until they flashed back. But yeah, that season was a bit of a train wreck, actually, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the train wreck season, I think.
There was a double elim, like no one winning that. Like, Rue was kind of like hard on them, I think.
I was actually thinking that UK season is so inconsistent. Like, it's one of the most inconsistent.
It is.
Yeah.
It goes from being the best show ever to snooze fest in between seasons. Totally.
It's crazy. So UK versus the world is doing really well, like, at the moment.
Scarlett tells us at home, but not the girls in the workroom, that she has a degree in advertising design, which I think was well played. Like, you want to keep that shit to yourself.
And then drop it on stage later with Rue.
Yes.
That's
once you've got good feedback.
Yeah. You're like, oh yeah, by the way.
Confirm that you're in the top. Yeah. So good.
Yeah, it's a great week for Scarlett. Just really, I think it played a lot to her strengths. She seems really, I think, settled in the room. I think maybe Mayhem going was a little bit of a shock. Like, it did sort of jolt her probably momentarily, like, I am the only American. But now I think we're starting to see what Scarlett can do, which is really cool.
Yeah. Tia's worried Marina and Keita don't get the challenge because they're kind of just doing tourism style campaigns for their respective homelands. And Tia's like, I'm doing the challenge, which is branding. I thought that was quite funny.
It does lend itself to that it's a global competition. And also, I think it also, honestly, they were like, what is this challenge? Like,
Mm.
I think they were still trying to work out what the fucking challenge is, which maybe it wasn't this clear this week as a challenge. Maybe.
Do you know what I would have done? Because it was Drag Race World. Like that to me is like a theme
Yeah.
park. I would have done it like a theme park and each one had a ride. Do you know what I mean? And you could really camp it up.
I was confused that didn't come out of it, and I'm wondering, did they say in the when he said the immersive experience? Did he say
I think
Drag
so,
Race
yeah.
World?
They said this episode is like all about Drag Race World and your attractions, or experiences. Yeah, experience is too vague. Like taking a shit is an experience. Like
They should have said like yeah, like you each get a ride or
yeah,
yeah, or an
a
attraction
section of
in
the park. I don't know.
the park, and then we could have got maybe like a Carney character or something really funny like that. Like
Mm,
I was just like, did you guys like make this up? It feels like the writers were rewriting
yeah,
the challenge like as was happening.
absolutely.
Mm-mm.
Hannah's brand is going to be Hannah's Cove, which is a special place at the back of the club that she takes the boys to, which I thought that was very funny. When
Hannah's very relaxed
this is her
and
thing.
doing really
Yeah,
well.
she
Yeah.
really kicks it in the dick, as we see later. I was surprised she was safe, but anyway. Jomba's
Mm.
surprise tells us that in fact she is Northern Irish. Did you know that, Jean? She had not mentioned it. I
Yeah,
wasn't quite sure.
it's weird that your brand is your country. Like it does get weird after a while. Like I understand coming into a global competition and they position you that
Mm,
way that you're going to be talking about it. But with Hannah, it kind of infuses her whole overall persona. Like she'll say good
mhm.
day and she'll have a few like real Australianisms, but she's got all this other stuff going on. While yeah, Jombas is
Yeah, I'm so glad she didn't do. Yeah, I'm so glad Hannah didn't do like an on the nose Aussie thing for this challenge. That would have been cringe.
yeah, we got it. She knows back home we'd be like, no.
Hmm.
Yeah, but I don't know. Jomba's it's hard to write this. This was a hard one to write. Like if you weren't, I love how they were all kind of writing their bits. Where I was like, if you want to make this cohesive, you really have to do this together, which seems
Exactly.
weird.
Do you think they were told? Well, do you think they were told that they were being judged separately, and that's why they were all a bit like, "Let's split it up"? Because yeah, there was no cohesion in any
And
group.
like also like,
They did.
why were they?
Yeah,
They were barely together in any scene.
they never filmed anything
Yeah,
together. Like again, though, that could have been a part of it that we weren't privy to.
yeah.
It just seemed a bit
It was
awkward.
like they were like,
But Jobbers, yeah,
this is easier to film or something. Like, from a production point of view, it was weird. It was very weird.
yeah. Anyway, Jumpers is falling the Irish trap once again. La Grande
Mhm.
Dame is just a tall fashion bitch, and I loved that. It was
Oh
like
god.
no
Oh
need
yeah.
to reinvent the wheel. I'm just tall and hot.
Yeah.
So funny.
She's like, I'm just interesting and you want to look at me. And it's just very, very true. Like, and she's got later when I saw her challenge, I was like, this is, it's not just because it's about French things. This is the French comic sensibility. That's what they, that's what they laugh at. That's the
Totally.
kind of shit that they laugh at. And I was like, this is great.
Mm. Rue's back from her week off on the Lemsip and she's in the workroom again. So she comes around to intimidate them all as she does, and she thinks Kita's group is a little bit mismatched. So Tia's like onto that. She wants to make sure it's a
Yeah.
united performance. Rue,
Yeah, they're all
yep.
sort of wackadoo, aren't they? Sorry, they're all sort of wackadoo, aren't they? They're all just on their own trajectory, It's just like, can we bring this
Uh,
together?
but they,
Like
I
they're
thought
just
all of them fell into that trap because look, I know the
yes,
like Glamour's Only an Airways thing from that team was like a way to tie it together, but still, that was let's drop you off in different locations,
mm,
which
mm, mm,
yeah. Anyway,
mm.
Rue did love that Teresa understood the challenge. She's like, it's about branding, no? And Rue seems appropriately medicated because she's like, yes, thank you. Like she's really, she's like, all you have to do with her is just like use the right words. And
Oh.
she's like, I hope these other girls are listening. I'm like, oh my God. Like,
Yeah, like Rue has an expectation going in for sure.
yeah. But so we've got Teresa's Inferno, Gothy's Tiger, Ra, and Scarlett's Am I the Drama. They're their respective brands that they're going to try and use together. Rue tells Jombers that you can't wear green on a green screen. I love this bit. And she's like, oh!
That was so funny.
Oh! I love Jombers. She's really funny. And Hannah tells us that her hubby is a Brit. And she, they say you are what you eat. So I guess I'm a Brit.
Oh.
That was funny.
Hannah's got those lines, doesn't she? She's got that comic like timing, and I think she's done a bit of writing where she's just got like a little bit of an arsenal. She's done the preparations, so that's the shit that gets in the edit as well. Like
Totally.
it's just so funny, so good.
Yeah, she's killing it from a like little quips perspective and making everyone laugh and love her. But like, yeah, I think the runways are getting a little bit samey, as we'll get to, but she's killing it with charisma.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the Hannah episode for sure. That where it all kind of falls into place.
Yeah, she hasn't had it yet. They go and film the Maxi Challenge with a very stern Michelle Visage in the director's chair. I do love watching Michelle on this power trip. Like it's always my favorite moment when she just decides something sucks. But you've already written it and it's like too late. I don't know. I love this.
You just have to power through and just hope that her glare isn't like completely ruining your life,
Yeah. And we find out they've got 45 minutes each per group, and the Brit crew at their disposal. And props, as per usual. Michelle tells Gothy that the world does not need another bukkake joke. And to her, I say, well, Michelle, you need more than one person for a bukkake party.
Yeah, no, she was, I was worried because, like her back was just to the camera and I was like, girl, like, like, I like, it's a fun idea, but like, what are you doing?
The
it's hard to get
line
right.
for Rue and Michelle for this shit is so thin. Like there are weeks when they lose their minds over a dirty joke. And then there are weeks where they absolutely act like they clutch their pearls and they're like, that's disgusting. And I'm like, sorry.
Yes, all of a sudden they're purists, like a puritanical show. RuPaul's Drag Race.
It just depends on how they're feeling in that moment. But Michelle was not impressed. I would have just cut it if that was me. Like, if I saw Michelle's face like that, I would have just been like, let's do something else.
I'd be like, let's pivot to another kind of thing. Yeah. Let's go. But, she was like, she said, this is funny for me. And I'm like, well, she's living her truth.
She's having a great time, little Gothy.
She is.
Scarlett is nervous about Gothy's section. She's like, oh, not sure this is good. Michelle loves Marina. Not thrilled about Kater, though. Tia says, Kater's mind is a whirlpool of nonsense, which I thought was very funny.
It really seems to be like she's actually pretty bonkers, isn't she? Like she's got something quite surreal going on. Like this makes sense to me, and you're like, okay. But I don't mind watching it. I actually don't mind watching it. I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I think she's getting a little bit one note with the the witchy looks and being like, I'm dark or whatever. That's a bit like, I
don't know. It feels a bit of a stretch, but to be honest, it's sort of dark.
Yeah,
sort of. It's not really that dark.
Well, you're right. She does a lot of telling us that she's that, but then not a lot of showing. Le Grand Dame fumbles her line a bit, and they give her that stumble edit, which I was like, please, we all know she's going to be fine. I'm not buying.
Do you think she went really considerably over time in real life? Like, because I don't know, if you've got 45 firstly, if you had 45 minutes for all that, I would be pretty protective of my time and actually like speak
It's
up.
not a
Like
long
that,
time.
yeah,
Yeah.
I would be like, okay, cool, you got to wrap this up, mate, because like Hannah and I, like, it's like I don't know if it's a kind of repressed Anglo thing to like just like
Mm,
not say anything, but like
true.
so I don't know if that's actually the real thing that was happening. That Le Grand Dame was like, I am the diva, I am taking up all the
The other
time, and
time,
just like,
yeah.
yeah,
Well, she was fumbling the lines, but like, English isn't her first language, and at no
oh
point
my
did
god.
anyone acknowledge that. So I was a bit like, yeah, of course it's
They're
gonna
not acknowledging that
take a
at
bit.
all with any of the
Any
queens
of
that
them,
are like,
yeah, totally. I'm like, they're being forced to speak another language. Yeah, I'm giving that a bit of grace. I think, yeah, she totally
100%.
was fine. I think they just grabbed that little bit and thought, oh, here's some story.
I wonder whether it's more about perfectionism than it is
True.
about her fumbling as well. Just going, I want to do another take, but they're not really showing that her requesting the takes or let me do it again, let me do it again. Yeah, because like she's so good. They're
Well,
like, we
yeah.
got to make her look like she's not as good as what she actually is. I don't know.
Either way, I was happy it happened because it gave us the funniest moment of the episode, I thought, where Hannah has no time left and she's like, oh, fuck this. Nah, fuck that. Like, she's just like throwing props around. She's like, oh, no time for that. Fuck it. It was so funny.
But what a great attitude. She's just like, you know what? Don't get in your head about it. Like, let's just
keep it
get to
moving.
it. Show must go on. Yep, like just go for it. Nah, no time for that. But I love she's just swearing like a pirate because that's what Australians do. But yeah,
No time for the bin scene. Fuck it. Throws the bin
look,
away.
and like, she just went, okay, I've got to like deliver something. And she seemed pretty confident, like the whole time, which was good.
Jambas also rushes around, but strangely the chaos works. But we get a lot of Michelle just absolutely just daggers staring at her, being shady, foreshadowing that poor Jambas is not going to be in the top this week.
Yeah, and it's
you
weird
think?
because like I actually quite enjoyed watching Jomba's section, even though it possibly didn't quite do the thing that it was supposed to do. Like I thought it was kind of weird and
I thought it was fine.
yeah,
I thought it
yeah,
was completely fine. Like,
yeah,
like you said, like the brief was vague at
confusing.
best,
Yeah,
and some of definitely don't think she was the worst. But
yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
Mirror Talk, Real Talk. Marina tells us about being queer in the Philippines, and it's not explicitly illegal to be gay or anything in the Philippines, but culturally and politically, she doesn't feel protected or safe all the time there, and that leads to Le Grand Dame opening up about being attacked in Nice. And the police, of course, didn't take it very seriously. I thought that this was pretty touching moment.
It was a great conversation. It was, it is, and it is really real in places like France. Like you do feel it more in places like that. That there's a lot of that kind of bigotry. Even in Paris. They were saying about bigger cities. But like you kind of feel that stuff even there. So it was really good conversation because I think we got to keep remembering that there are
Yes.
still people out there. I always remember Utica and people like that, like those kinds of people who still come from like really small places and like have to, it's still happening. It's not like we just all live in like LA.
Yeah, and I think Spanky Jackson was a really good advocate for this conversation as well, being from a small town. She was always using her time on the show to talk about the people that came before them to allow us the rights we have today, and that we shouldn't take that for granted because it can all slide backwards very easily, as we're seeing all over the world, and Hannah in this episode says that. She goes, look, don't get complacent because the things we have can easily be taken away. So I thought it was very good point.
Very good point indeed. Like, it was a nice Mirror Talk, Real Talk. It was good to see them talking about something.
And it can happen anywhere. Like, yeah, I did like that. Oh my god, I gay squealed when I saw that Kim Petras was the guest judge this week,
How cool
and
was Kim Petras?
she
She was
was a
so
delight.
nice. I loved her. I was like, "Oh, you're cool, and I love what you're wearing, and
The
she's
cherries was
clearly like
cute.
living as well, like to be on this show." So it was cool.
Yeah. And I thought it was very cute as well. RuPaul's intros calling Alan Carr the original throat goat. And Alan just jumping right on board with that one. And of course, Kim was a delight. The runway, the category is reveal yourself.
Now the reveal is really important, right? Like, like that this one is like a performance as well. So
Yes.
you've got to get the actual smooth reveal happening. You don't want one part to look cheap in like for the other part to work. There's so many like things with reveals. But I do love a reveal. It is exciting.
They didn't all quite wow me with the reveal. Some of them just had really great looks, but the actual reveal element wasn't amazing.
No.
Should we get into it? La Grande Dame came out first.
This was a really fun idea. She got that beauty queen idea, and what I loved was like it really showed a hilarious joke. It's a joke as well, like it's a fun joke saying "world piss" like that. Like that's really good stuff. Like,
it was a great idea. I think the edit didn't do her justice though. Like I had to go back and watch it a few times because the actual part where the piss happens was kind of like weirdly cut out or something. Like you didn't quite get the full effect of it because it was such a funny idea.
Do you think it was censored? Do you think it was censored a little bit?
Potentially. Well, back to my point earlier about Rue deciding what isn't appropriate. Do you remember etc. on season 1 of Down Under doing a whole thing about piss, and just the word piss really offended RuPaul and Michelle? They're like, that's disgusting. But then in this context, they're like, oh, we love it. Weird. Okay. Justice for etc.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny as fuck. Piss.
Yeah, but overall, I mean, La Grande Dame, like, what a clothes horse. I mean, she's
clothes horse. Yeah, absolutely. Theresa May comes out in a fucking Marge Simpson look. So good.
Now, so good. Now, you introduced me to Bendy Ben.
Yes.
And Bendy Ben did this look. And I was so excited at the time because not only is it Marge, it's referencing an incredible episode of The Simpsons as well, which is when she gets the Chanel suit from the outlet store and she's trying to fit in the country club. There's just so much to it. So I was kind of excited because when I saw that look originally.
Well, I watched this episode with Bendy last night, and he was like, "Oh my god!" Like we were all like, "Bitch, saw your look," but it was great.
Exactly. Ideas are in the zeitgeist. Ideas are just out there, But yeah, I thought Theresa did a really lovely job of this. Like, I love the glammed up Chanel suit, like the glitter. That was cool. What did you think about
I thought it was great. Her best look this season, because it was something different, and it showcases what you love about her, which is that she's silly and camp. So that was great. Loved the big blue bush. But, when you've seen Bendy do that number, you do compare because she doesn't quite move like our girl. So, but no, loved it. Very, very good. Tia Coffee gets real brown nosy this week by doing not one but two RuPaul looks.
Now, I think that it's a cool idea. Reveal Ru, like that's really fun. The only thing I would say is like I could see the other looks underneath her look. When she's and just for the illusion for the performance element, I want that to be really good.
Amazing.
But she looks great. I do think she looks great. The final look,
stunning.
The final look was
wig
particularly
moment was probably
excellent.
the standout bit for me. Like her just pulling off that hairpiece and plonking it on the ground. They giggled at that as well. But it's funny because did you
Yeah.
watch season 16's
Yeah,
most
absolutely.
recent episode as well? Because there's a lot of brown nosing happening. Oh, I won't spoil, but
I am about to watch
one
that
of the
today.
queens really
Yeah.
goes in for some ass kissing for Rue this week as well. And I was like, you know what? Like, fair play. You got to do it.
Look, everyone's got their angle with that. Some people like come in with the theater stuff with
Mhm.
like, you know, like doing like her
Yeah,
60s and
some Golden
70s
Girls
stars and
references,
referencing those
perhaps. Yeah,
people
if you
and
can do
doing like
that,
Wizard of
she'll.
Oz and all that sort of stuff. Golden Girls, you know, so everyone's got their
Marine
angle.
Summers. This was stunning. The volcano goddess look with the lava spurting out. Yeah.
Oh, and also the way she ripped it out, like those like it just had this kind of drama and everything, even at just how she got out of the next one. I was like, oh, she's so tiny and she's carrying this huge thing, but she's got so much power. Like, it was fucking stunning. She's like in kind of a league of her own with her own looks, and really you can only compare her to herself.
She's
Like she's that good.
polished. I thought it was clever too, those little lava spurt moments, because you kind of think, oh, is that the reveal? And then there's the whole next bit where
100%.
she's fully lava underneath
The
it.
eruption.
And the rhinestones
So
on this look like, wow. And the headpiece, it was no flaws
There was so
for
much
me.
detail that we couldn't even go to. The structure that made it look like rocks. I was like, I couldn't even look at her. She was
So
so
good.
good.
And I loved Kim Petras having a great time with the puns, being like, I love it, this look. Get into it, Kim.
Kim Petras is awesome.
Keita Minaj is in a suit look, and she tells us that it's a bit witchy. And I was like, okay, again. The reveal is kind of like a big tie
like
to a
what?
little tie, and then it folds down, and it's kind of like some big flares. And yeah, like it was good. It just was a bit meh for me.
Yeah. She's so glamorous and like does everything so beautifully. But this is a storytelling challenge in a way, you know, like you're actually trying to tell story. And I think that's where it's becoming a bit of a stretch. Like we were saying earlier in the episode, that even the witchy thing feels like a bit of a stretch. And maybe they're kind of, are they forcing this brand on her a little bit? Like, are they saying you've got to have like a thing, that's your thing,
Maybe.
you know? And Tia knows what her thing is, and like, you know, so everyone knows it, but maybe she doesn't know. And maybe they were like, what about, you're kind of gothic, you like you wearing black. I'd be interested to check out her Insta and sort of see what she's been presenting prior to this show. So I really don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, there's not a huge amount of consistency, but then she seems to think there is. So who knows?
Yeah.
Hannah comes out dressed as the Pope, which this first look was very costume store.
Very, very much.
But
so. It was very,
the reveal underneath was quite
it was very
good.
much that thing. Yeah, you want them to be a similar quality. I know it sucks because it's like you have to get two like costumes made, like two intricate but the reality is it's so much better when it's like refined. But she when she was doing like the twerk, I was losing it. I just thought that was so funny. I was like, she's so silly, she's so dumb. Yeah.
She sold it. Yeah. And there was a funny idea, like, look, she's one of us. It's like a girl underneath the Pope outfit. That was kind of funny. But yeah, you're right. They need to be of similar quality so it doesn't look like you've just made a look and then
the
wrapped it in
story is a little bit
reveal.
Weak as well. If I'm being like really nitpicky with this one, because I think if you're gonna do it, you actually should do that in like the real religious context of being like you're a choir boy. Like there was no sort of real religious iconography. Obviously it's a Pope look, and then just flipping to, it's not like you're a showgirl, but it's almost like you become devilish and like and kind of not necessarily a devil, but like you're a bad girl now, you know. And I think that would have been a better.
That would have worked. Like some bondage. She had bondage gear under there or something.
Like she's
like
been
that
corrupted.
would have worked.
Yeah,
yeah,
because it's sort of
pulled a whip
just a
out.
bit like, "Oh, I'm the
Yeah.
Pope, and now I'm a showgirl." That it does like, it's funny, and she looked beautiful.
I guess that's her story though,
Oh,
because wasn't she a priest?
oh,
Or
that's
she
right,
was going to be a
yeah.
priest?
They
Yeah, it's what,
and they
so
barely
I guess it's
touched on that.
actually
They
her
just went, "Oh,
story.
remember in Drag Race Down Under season 2?" They just sort of mentioned it, and we were like, "Hang on, what?" And then, like, they never brought it up again.
Yeah, they just keep showing
So
her with
funny.
that
That swan
fucking
is so
swan.
funny.
I've seen it like 3 times now. I think it's
Yeah,
coming. I think we're gonna
yeah.
get her backstory soon. But yeah, Jambers. This look
Oh,
was fucking
yeah.
amazing. It was like rainbow turns into pot of gold. So again, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
eye rolling at the Irish reference, but if it looks like that, like it was a very
The chain look was
heightened,
amazing. That
elevated
sort of box
version
kind
of
of
that.
like a wig, aspect
Great.
as well, and the way it'll drape down. It was really, really beautiful. It's
Yeah,
really
and the
good.
rainbow look was great
Yeah,
too.
I
I
would
think
have
she ripped it off too soon. Like she should have done
I
one
think so.
lap in it and then pulled it off. I think
It's,
she pulled
like,
it off
and
like
I actually
straight
thought it
away.
was, like, a very pretty
Yeah,
look and a very nice dress, so yeah, she
it
could
was
have given it a
stunning.
bit it is hard to get it exactly right, like, when you do the reveal, like, like, yeah, like, it's hard.
I
You get
know.
because you also know in the edit, you don't get that much time. You really don't. So you're like, "I
No,
wanna how do I time this perfectly?" Um, I thought Jombas was excellent on the runway, this week, and even Rue was and Michelle were like,
yeah,
"I'd
they
wear that."
gave her that credit. They
Yeah,
even like, even though she was, in the bottom, they still were like snaps to that look,
yeah.
which was nice. Scarlett comes out with big hair and this kind of very scarlet
Trench coat, kinda
orange kind of trench coat thing. This was a beautiful look,
oh my
but I
god,
just thought
gorgeous.
the reveal part wasn't revealy enough.
She's just
I
like,
don't know.
"Here you go," opens a jacket,
Here you
like, I'm
go.
like, "I can
Open
do
the
that,
jacket.
I can do that, I can do that." I don't wanna see anything that I can do, you know what I mean? I wanna see someone twirl around and, like, rip something off, and
Mm,
I mean,
totally. It was elegant
it's sort of
though. It was
funny, and it was
simplistic.
and it kinda had like a 40s sort of like bombshell sort of like, "Oh, look at like kind of this demure and, "Oh, I'm a bad girl," in a way, like it
Mm-mm.
had that kind of sensibility. Um, but she looked beautiful. I mean, that's what I mean, she looks stunning.
She looked
Orange
really
is
good.
100% her color. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, it wasn't quite a reveal. And they made fun of her later, which was good.
Gothy Kendall comes out with Lady Bunny. This is so cute. And then she pulls it off, and there's creepy baby faces on her tits, which I thought was very
I thought
funny.
this was
So
fantastic.
good.
Did you also notice the cock
Yes.
part? Like, at the like, it's actually long? It was like a
Yes.
long penis-shaped
It
part
looked expensive.
at the oh,
Whoever
that
made
was
this, like,
so
it
funny.
was very cool.
Yeah,
And Kim Petras was dying.
it yeah, the whole out and it actually was quite it made sense as well because, like, that 60s thing, and then the reveal, those baby heads are very, like, very 60s, very old school sort of, like, terror toy that you would
Yeah, they were scary.
get when you were young, like cheap yeah, they were like kind of like
Chippy
cheap
doll
kind of
faces, yeah.
buy them on
But
the
I
side of the
liked the
road. Like,
because they've been wanting her to be a bit more silly. What they said, like, we want goofy Kendall.
yeah,
So she's kind of delivering on that. And
yeah.
Kim Petras got a Mary
Goofy.
Kate and Ashley in there. She's
Uh,
like, it's the twins. I thought that was very cute. That's talk about branding.
so good. And I think she's just like yeah, and I think she's just like slowly kind of get like building. She's building her brand and
Yeah,
her identity like kind of in front of us, which is it's nice to see. I mean, it's crazy that she's
I
in an All
know.
Stars that and she's being able to do
I
that
mean,
because
look,
usually you'd
I'm
be
not gonna
out the
lie.
door.
I really credit whoever made this more than Gothy. I'm not gonna lie. Like, because I don't think that
Yes!
Gothy would have been a part of the development of that look. Prove me if I'm wrong, but do you know what I mean? Like, to me, it feels very much like some
Yeah,
creative
yeah,
genius came up with that, and it happened to fit Gothy. I don't know.
yeah.
Mm.
Kudos to that designer.
Then we
'cause it's
get to
great.
see the immersive experiences, which were not great overall.
I just think that the topic was tricky, and I don't think they communicated it well to them, because like it's called Drag Race World, and as you said, no one did Drag Race World. Like, what are we? You didn't do a theme park. What else would Drag Race World be?
I would have,
like, what would it else would it be other
they
than
wanted
a?
it to
That's what
be
doesn't make
like,
sense.
you know, you've got like your VR goggles on or something, and it's like you're at a convention and
Sure.
a brand is like showcasing something, you know, a product. I think they want it to be like that, but like,
Oh yeah, yeah.
as Rue joked about at the start of the episode, the technology they had was making a green screen video, so it's like it's not an immersive experience.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, and it's not an immersive experience, and also how fucking boring. Oh, so you're at a conference, and
that's what
like
it
you
felt.
are
That's
trying
kind
out
of
some VR goggles. Like,
no.
that's not camp
Anyway,
and
so
cool. Like,
Marina,
I
maybe,
mean, maybe at DragCon
yeah,
they have things
Marina,
like that.
Tia,
Like,
and
I don't
Kata
know,
do
but
this
like,
Glamazonian Airways things, which I thought was like clever to do, but it wasn't executed that well.
yeah. Again, they were all separate. Like, that didn't make any sense. There was no interplay between them. It was just like, how else were they? I think they did make like kind of made the best of a situation where you've got two queens who aren't necessarily, this isn't necessarily their
I actually
wheelhouse,
thought
and then
Marina was
Tia,
one of the
who's great at
strongest
stuff like this.
bits.
But
Like her bit
yeah,
when she was like making the pit crew
I
like
yeah.
pick the rice or whatever, and she's like, "Pick that rice, bitch!" Like that was hilarious. Yeah, that bit was good.
Oh, that was
Probably the only
hilarious.
good bit of this.
That was
Yeah, and
hilarious.
Tia's bit was
Yeah, I enjoyed
funny
that.
because Tia is very funny, but it just you could tell that she wasn't. Yeah, it was, and you could tell that
It
she
was
was
labored, but
not
yeah.
pleased with the like whole arc that they ended up doing. You know, like she just focused on her bit. I think, yeah. Anyway,
Is this an episode where people from the UK can't express themselves? Because like, why didn't she speak up? Like Jombers, why didn't Jombers speak up during the production? Why didn't, like, she clearly had a
it is very
handle
cultural.
on the competition.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It's just like, oh, I won't say
Ah,
anything. It's like,
until
okay,
it's too
why?
late.
Because I reckon those other two would
Yeah.
say something. Yeah, yeah. It's anyway.
We don't call them whinging pumps for nothing.
Who was next?
LGD. Another whinge. LGD, Hannah, and Jombers. I thought this was funny. Like
Yes.
overall, Jombers was a bit flat, but
I yeah, but I kind of enjoyed
too.
Jombers as well, because it was, I don't know, like like when she was sort of like, is this thing on? And like, I don't know why she was doing stand up, but like, what the hell is it anyway? Like, what is anyone doing it?
exactly.
Like, Hannah is like laughing into a sheep's ear. Like, it's like, how is that any like
Yeah.
less effective than the? You know, like, yeah, she didn't land as well. I thought
She was
Legrandin
funny,
was
and the
fucking,
Karl
like,
Lagerfeld
I just
and
was,
the Jean
I
Paul
was
Gaultier
losing
were
it.
funny impressions.
It was
She's
great.
gearing us up for Snatch Game.
But it's also like talking about, yeah, and she's also talking about who she is. Like, as in, these are
Yeah.
my literal references. These are people who I refer to. I'm from Paris. Like, and then she's making, she's making fun. She's of the Frenchness of it all, while also saying, I'm very French. I thought it was quite well done. And then Hannah was just bonkers.
Hannah's
Like, I was
great.
like, okay, this is
I think if she had a better look
so silly
this week on the runway, she
Yeah.
would have been in the top, but wasn't meant to be. Scarlett, Teresa, and Gothi. I
Yeah.
thought this one was probably the worst. I don't know. I really didn't connect with this one.
I think Scarlett did a good job, like in a sense that she's just good at that, like at like
Yeah.
up next this, like that kind of like show, like sort of presenter. I think that's her. Yeah, I guess it came together.
Well, that was the thing,
possibly
because they wrapped
structurally
it.
better than
They
the others,
gave
but
it
I
like
didn't
some
necessarily
structure,
like it.
which
Yeah.
the others didn't do as well. And Ru seemed to like, it's so funny. It's like all you had to do was do a little intro PowerPoint style with like the agenda of what's coming up, and Ru loses her mind.
Yeah. So a
It
year
totally
nine
reeked of that. It was like,
presentation, like, for
today
media.
in the group assignment, Jean's going to be talking about the first part and I'm going to be talking. It's like, fuck me. Yeah. Crits and delibs. They're not being judged in teams, which I thought was very strange. And also, yeah, weird.
Yeah.
Hannah, Teresa, and Marina are safe. They loved Tia. Yeah, they loved Tia. They loved
That seems fair.
They didn't really love Jambas because the jokes didn't land. But I'm also like, this is an edited package, so like, of course they didn't land. But anyway, Gothy, they like the look, but they want to see her be a bit more goofy, be a bit more fun. So they gave her a bit of a kick in the butt, I think, to do better next time. But she's safe. Gothy and La Grande Dame are safe.
Yeah.
Meaning Scarlett and Tia are the top queens and Kater and Jambres are in the bottom two. Do you think that was all correct?
It was a tough one this week because I think the challenge was really tricky, and I'm not sure how they weighted it. Like, how much was the challenge worth compared to the runway? Because the runway was quite a challenge as well. So it was a reveal is a really specific sort of runway. I don't know. I guess Jombas should be in the bottom, but like I also didn't think Jombas did that badly. So like it's like a weird, like who would have you put like in the bottom? And do you think the tops are correct?
Yeah, I think the tops were correct.
Yeah.
Scarlett and Tia. Yeah, I think Kater and Jombas in the bottom. Like it makes sense. I don't know. I honestly I didn't think Teresa was that good.
I didn't. I was really. I have to say, when I rewatched it again this morning, I thought Teresa is fading away in this comp, and like
and it's a shame.
and she's in this like flame outfit and stuff, and she's like got she's getting them to scull the drinks, and I'm just thinking, I don't know why this is just a bit plain. So Teresa could have been there again this week, and then she would have certainly have gone if that was the case, you know.
Yeah, totally. But no, Kater and Jombas in the bottom two felt right. Yeah, there hasn't been a moment yet this season where you're literally like screaming at RuPaul, being like, "What?" Like it all makes sense.
And I think that's a testament to the storytelling and like what they're presenting to us. You know, it might not be the reality, but the reality that they're creating is makes sense. It has to make sense of the universe that you're existing in, you know.
Yeah.
That's when we get all upset because we're like, what? You know, and you can tell when something's forced.
Yeah. The Queens untuck backstage. And I love this bit because they're sucking up to the top queens.
Oh my
God.
How the power dynamic changes so quickly.
Kater was on the top last
hilarious.
week, and then this week she's sucking up to Scarlett. I love. She's like, we're both villains. You know, why don't we villain out together?
That worked.
Yeah,
I think that worked. I think she went, yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like that.
The UK girlies want to save each other, so I'm break them up. Come on, like it's time to play strategy. There's 4 of them.
But I'll be interested to see who she actually has in her bus next week, because she did say also, I don't know what I'm going to do to Jonvers. She did actually say that.
True. Oh yeah, we'll find out.
And she said she wanted to compete with the best. Like there is that this season there seems to be more value.
Yeah, well, Tia was conflicted because obviously it's easy to have an alliance with the other UK girls, which no one else there has. They're all on their own from their franchises now. So you can capitalize on that, or you can play fair and send the one who you think deserves it most to go. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if she does have a Jambas lipstick on there. Also, it'll signal to the rest of the group that they're not playing that way. Might take the targets off them,
100%.
which is smart.
Yeah.
Kater says she'll give Tia a massage, which I thought was very funny. And Tia's like, what kind of massage? It's been 3 weeks. Which I thought was very funny. Love Tia's thirsty for it. The lip sync is Future Starts Now, a great track by Kim Petras. So
Oh,
good. The
love it.
way they
Such
cut
a
it
great
up, though,
track.
was frustrating. I would have loved to have just seen the whole thing because it's a tune. But I get that for time they've got to do that.
Yeah.
Tia looked hot in the little dancing number.
Tia looked hot. Scarlett did. I get the kind
Mm-hmm.
of emotion of the song, I think, like, and really she's a real communicator, like, she really is able to,
She
stand there and just
light.
kinda deliver
Yeah.
with that, without, like,
She
doing
found the
splits.
spotlight,
Huh?
and I think she just held it
Mm.
the whole time.
Yep,
Tia was trying different
yep,
things the whole time. She was kind of like, "Oh, that didn't work. I'll walk over here. That didn't work. I'll walk over
yep.
there." So I can see why Scarlett took it.
Yeah, there's an awkwardness to Tia that, like, works well on certain songs, I think, and, I think this song you just needed to get to
Mm,
the heart of it and, like, deliver. It did give you a lot of moments for drama, but because it sort of ebbs and flows as a song, like, so, you could have had a different queens could have been doing, like, aerial splits and stuff at certain moments because there's these moments where the song pulls back and then, like, kinda builds back up, like, but I liked Scarlett's approach, and I thought she kind of just overall had a very excellent week because we saw more of it
mhm.
in confessional, and that's where the story, that campness, that fun campness, I was like, oh, you're not just a sort of like negative bitch, like you're
Yeah,
actually
we fell in
pretty
love with
funny.
Scarlett all over again this week. And next week is Snatch Game. How good?
Wowie zowie Snatch Game. Yeah, like I am excited to see. So, but it's always harder on the All Stars version because original Snatch Game, the map is there, the road map is there. But once they start doing Snatch Game of Love or the Family Snatch Game, it's like it's a different type of Snatch Game. So it'll be interesting to see uh, who they choose. Like, I mean, are we going to get like really specific references to different countries that then like
Yeah.
Rue and Michelle are going to be like, I don't know who that is,
Well, yeah, we didn't get anything in the promo, so we'll have to
Mm-mm.
find out. Were you sad to see Jombas go?
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely sad to see Jombas go. I was really happy that Jombas was included in the cast. I think if the time factor thing was actually real. I don't know if that story was real. Maybe she was like hard done by a little bit this week, but also you should speak up. Just speak up and just be like, hey, you've only got 4 minutes left. Not like maybe they just feel really disempowered with Michelle there and they're just like, they want to be supportive and all
Yeah.
that sort of stuff. But like, I'd be like, hey, we all get only 15 minutes each. Let's go.
Wise words, Jean. Wise words. And that's the end of the episode for this week. But we'll be back again next week to catch up again and unpack the episode, won't we?
We will. They're really packing a lot into this season. So I love like a short, like, hot, like exciting season of Drag Race. It's
It's
great.
awesome. I'll see you next week, Jane. Bye.
Talk to you then. Bye bye.